Hello there everybody, wee Paddy from across the shock. Now, I'm doing another wee sharpening video as you've seen in the title. But one of my subs a while back had asked me to do a sharpening on my Lansky system. And I done that. He has bought this system and he wasn't having a lot of joy. He was sharpening a Ganzo and it was in D2. I don't know whether it was this model or not. But he found that he wasn't able to get an edge on it properly. Now, Ganzo is a D2. This little Lansky system, it's ceramic with a, sharpening grits. This is, I'm sure it's about 1,000. And this is the white ceramic, something like the Spyderco sharpening ceramic. But it's just for honing. This is for sort of bringing an edge back that's had a day's use. Maybe not a hard day's use, but just to bring a knife back. On my little system, I've added the, this is the fallkniven system. I think I said Lansky, fallkniven system. I've added the fallkniven diamond plate and a little strop. And that does me for anything, if I'm out and about or if I'm sitting in the front room at night and the knife needs a little hone, because I would tend to strop mine at the end of it. If it doesn't bring it back, I'll bring this out, give it a quick. Most of the time, I just have to use the white. But if it's got a wee bit of a burr or whatever, I'll use this to take it off. But on the Ganzo D2 is rock weld really, it's usually 61, 62, which is quite hard. So if there's any kind of wear, good honest wear on it, it's going to take a long time to do it on this, to bring it back to sharpness. So he was asking, he was having a problem. Now, this here that I've stuck on the back, I know I can use it because I have done, and I can bring a chipped edge back on this. But for anybody that's trying, this is obviously for basic sharpening. You can spend a lot of money on sharpening stuff. That suits me, but it obviously doesn't suit my friend. I can't even remember his name. It's terrible. I can't remember this person's name. But what I also have or use is, now I've just ordered this one to see what sort of size it was. This is the DMT, and this is the die sharp, and this is a course for bringing a badly damaged edge back again. I had this one here, which is what I use in my main sharpening system. This is the die sharp, and this is the fine edge. This one's about 320 grit, and this one is 600. Okay, so depending on how dull my Ganzo is, I'll use one of these two. Now, this costs about £15. And that's why I bought it, just to show that you don't have to go expensive. As long as you're willing to sharpen your hand, and I am, I like sharpening by hand. And this is what, obviously, if you buy this system, you're trying to sharpen by hand. This costs about $20. This probably costs about $15 in the States. But it's a great addition if you're if you're quite happy to sit and sharpen by hand, or try and learn to sharpen by hand. This is a great addition. This is a course, 320. Most of the time, on any edge that you're going to do, this will be absolutely perfect. And this is the one that I would use most of the time. But I just wanted you to see, this is twice the price of this, but this does the job just fine. This is not for industrial sharpening. This is just for somebody who's at home. I'm going to bring this over a wee bit, sorry. This is just for somebody who's, like myself, just wants to get a keen edge on his blade. So, what I'm going to do today is show him a Ganzo D2 and how easy it is on this system to bring it back. Now, when I say easy is a very subjective word. When I say easy, I mean after a bit of practice, you'll be able to do it. And it's not, all it is a bit of practice. It's so simple. So I'm going to go through the whole process again. I know it's going to be a long video, and if you don't like it, well, go somewhere else. This is a wee sharpening video. And again, it's one of my subs asked me to do it. And, when somebody watches your channel and, asks you a question, I think it's your duty as a reviewer or whatever you want to call us. I don't know what I am. But is to reply back, because this is the substance of my knife, is sharpening and the knives. I love doing both. They're both just as big a part of the hobby as the other. So what I'm going to do, just to prove to you that this diamond works, sorry, This is just my one. This is an absolutely absolutely sharp ganzo. So I'm going to run it across my diamond here, and then we'll see what it's like. That diamond works. So for my sub, if you buy that, that will sharpen, don't worry, it will definitely sharpen. But I'm just going to show you one of the other things that I would use to bring a knife back. There is nothing on that, it's not even going to slice into the paper. That is a great way addition, and I think it costs, it's only a couple of dollars, and I just stuck it on with super glue on the pack. It will work. So I've shown you the other things that you can buy to bring it back. Do you know, I think I'm actually going to use this just to show you that it works. So I got this from Heine Haynes. I don't know what it was. It was really cheap. Obviously less than what the price of it. I think it was just a few pound. And this is the diamond stone that you get for this system, the fallkniven system. So let's use this. It is blunt. And here, look, let's just do it. Sometimes I don't do this, and I should do it. I was watching a Jeff Jewell video, and you know, if it's good enough for Jeff, it's good enough for me. He taught me everything I don't know. But he was very instrumental in me sharpening by hand. He was the encouragement I needed to do it. So I've just put a little edge on there with the Sharpie. I don't know where you can see that, but it's there. So with this, all I do is fold this back a little bit, okay? And I'll set it on, and I'll tilt it up until I don't see a gap, and that's it, ready to sharpen, okay? So I'll just draw it along there, and it's just a matter of just keeping it at the height that you think it is. Checking my Sharpie. Now, I hope you can see that. Let me get it up here. I hope you can see that. I'm hitting right along the length of it, but I'm not getting up to the shoulder. So I just need to drop it a little bit. And once you get that, try to remember where you dropped it to. There we go. I've got a virtually clean edge. So I can do this. I don't even have to lift it off there. Although it seems small, I don't have to lift it up. Just keep it going. So, and I'll check that I've got it. And I'm not getting up the shoulder quite right up here, but you can also do this. You can sharpen so many different ways, and that's what's so exciting. For me, this is what is exciting. You can do it like this, and you can just do it gradually up and work on the places that you've seen that you haven't hit. But this is absolutely fine. If this is what you want to do, and this will get you your edge back. So now you want to check for burrs. This is quite a coarse, so a burr's to there. I don't have a burr at the bottom. So I'm going to concentrate a little bit on the bottom here. And I want to make sure I'm not creating another complete. And you don't put any pressure on it. This is diamonds. They'll do the work. If you put pressure on, you'll just wear your stone out. You're not going to do your knife any harm, but you'll just wear your stone out that you paid more. And although I said they're cheap, you don't want to spend money just over and over on the... And I try to go all over the stone so I'm not using... So you keep doing this until you get that little burr on the other side. There we are. That's as simple as that. You've seen how dull that was. That's the burr on that. With this simple little cheap stone that's not going to cost you. You know, again, this is 15. If you want to buy this and have this with it, if you feel that would be easier, do it. I bought it just to have. Because I just, like I said, I just love changing about. So, I'm going to go to the other side now and check my angle. So, I'll drop it to what I think it is. And that is pretty much all the way. And you'll find once you get an angle, it's easier to keep, and the more you do it, the more used you get to the angles and holding them at peace. So all I'm trying to do now is swap that burr over and getting it on the same angle as the front side. And I had just honed this in the angle that it came, so it's actually, it needs a bit of work at that top end of the knife. I don't over sharp knives. If they come and they're sharp and I can give it a strop and it works well, you see, until I'm doing something like this or I've used it and I've dulled it, I don't change the angle too much until I need to. So what I'm doing now is actually a wee bit of restoration work on this blade. So the top end of the bevel is just not great. So I'm just gonna, while I've got the knife here, I may as well do it and get it. And again, I don't want to lean too hard. And you'll see the build up on there. So just get a wee cloth. There you go. And that's the metal it's removing. So this does remove metal and it removes it fast. So do not put pressure on. It will remove. It will remove metal fast. So let me just see. That looks better. Now. Burr, burr. Now, I'm going to bring this up just to let you burr right the way along. Now, that didn't take much time, did it? So, before I move on to the next part, I'll just change it over and try to reduce that burr, because what I'm going to do is I'm obviously going now to a lesser stone. So I don't want a big burr on there that it's going to take all my time doing it. So, if I can just remove that burr, and there's literally no pressure here, I'm just running it along. And then this is what I always do. I always get a bit of paper, and before I move to the next part, I'll just check the paper and see whether I'm cutting. There we go. Right down to the tip. And that's what I do before I move on to the next bit. Because if I'm not cutting now, the chances are it's going to take me twice as long at the next stage to get this sharp. Okay, so that's the reason. So I'll now go to my normal little stone. And I don't have to do a lot of work with this. The only thing I'm doing with this now is refining the scratch pattern. That's all I'm really doing. And that's what I'm going to be doing when I'm honing at night. I'm just bringing that scratch pattern back again so that it's nice and smooth. So with this, you can, if you want, put black marker on again. And if you're not sure, put the black marker on as many times as you like. I sort of know what that angle is now, so I am going to just give it a quick, and I can do this as well on this side if I want to. I can do this on this side. As long as I do both roughly the same, it's not going to make that much of a difference. So all I'm doing is trying to, I'm not moving the burr about now, to be honest with you. Once I've done that in the front, I don't feel as if I need to do it again. This is just somebody wanted to know how to get that edge back on a D2 Ganzo. And this model especially is about 61, 62 in the Rockwell. Does it last as long as other higher end brands at 62 Rockwell? No, it's not been. It's not been proven to do that. But as a budget knife at 20 odd pound, or $20 odd, this cuts long enough for me. I'm happy to pay that money. And the Rockwell hardness means that the edge is hard and it will hold up for a day's work for me. So everything is subjective. All these tests that we do are subjective. If a knife does what you want it to do and you're not being overcharged for it, i.e. the Ganzos, I think if you're going to have a work knife, there is, in my opinion, no better than a Ganzo. For value for money, they've been Rockwell tested, so it's a hard enough temperament. Obviously the mixture is not the best, but it's good enough because I've used it, tested it, and it's good enough. So let's just see. There's this. Now, you can hear that going through that paper, and if you want to, go back and listen to it when I went through, when I was just on the rough diamond, to what I'm doing on the refined diamond. And then all I'm going to do again, this isn't taking a long time. I'm talking more than I'm sharpening. This is going to happen in a couple of minutes once you practice. And that's all it is practice. You know, I'm not using any, that's why I like to do the live video. It lets you see just how long it is. Now, all this will do is refine that scratch pattern that's on the edge of the blade more. So what that means is just getting sharper and sharper, and you're just keeping that angle. And you can see on there that it's already removing a little bit of steel. You can see the steel that took off when I done it on this side. So let's get your angle. And getting the angle is just practice. That's all it is. But it's worth practicing, because if you're not in that range of buying a 400, 500 pound sharpening system, you know, like the KME or something like that, my edges are going to be no worse than theirs at the end. It's going to cut. It mightn't be as ultra shiny as theirs, but unless you're a high-end knife collector that you're going to put these really mirror polished, I don't see the point in them. Yes, it's nice, and some of my better knives I'll have them, but it's usually more I have them is because I just drop them at night time. I don't overuse them, and that's the reason they've got a high polish. It's not that I'm a great sharpener, it's just that I strop. After I use them, I strop them, and over time it builds up a mirror edge. Do you know what I mean? And this is on my good knives, and I sort of, you know, to prove a point, I know I waffle and I go all sorts. I can pull this knife out at any time, right? This is my favourite, this is my high-end knife. And I can tell you that is always gleaming, right? And it's not that I over-sharpen it, I just strop it after I've used it. I love using this knife, and I strop it after it, but that's like a mirror edge. But it's not because I've got a KME system, or I spent any long time doing it. It's just simply because strop it. And once you've learned how to sharpen, stropping is a piece of cake. So, let's see what that's like. I'm holding it up to the mirror, I'm holding it up to the light just to see what it's like. It's not brilliantly refined, but this is a quick sharpening. So, that knife is going to do you no matter what you want. You know, it's sharp enough. Now, with this little bit of leather, I'm just going to very lightly just pass over it. And this will remove any little tiny bit of burr. Although when I went up that knife there, or went up the paper, I couldn't feel a burr. But I'm not, look, that's floppy. I'm not putting any pressure on that. All I'm doing is just cleaning that edge up. As you come down grits, and as you go on to the ceramics, and as you use your little leather strops, all it's doing is refining that edge so that it cuts better. And it probably looks a bit better. So there we are. That's the knife finished. That knife will do me. Did you see that? That knife will do me another day's work. And it's all done on this little system that I have. Yeah? But this is not the only system. You can buy this for $20. You can buy one of these, and you could buy the fine in it, which is 600 grit, which is going to bring most edges back again, including D2. You've just seen it done with a rough diamond. So you can get, if I was going to get it, you can afford to get it, get the fine first, save up another week or two, and then get a coarse one. And that'll give you a complete system, which is going to cost you $30, $50, $60 will give you a complete system that you can sharpen any knife. Any knife. Because once you've done D2, they're all just the same. The harder the steels on these more modern blades, just a wee bit longer you take to do them. And that's all it is. There's none of them that are killers. None of them that are killers. And that was in a couple of minutes of actually sharpened. I've waffled on a lot. But there we go. For my sub, I'm sorry I forgot your name. I hope that helps. I hope that's give you maybe some ideas. But you can do it all with a little system that costs under $30. And you have everything in there, and you can take that. Look how thin that is. You can take that anywhere with you. Or you can leave it like I do now over by my seat, and if I want to fix a blade up at night, I pull for this. If I'm going to do a brand new blade and it's new to me and I want to reprofile, I'll come over here and I'll use my bigger stones. I'll use my bigger diamond stones and I'll put them on a flat plate. If I want to get to reprofile, I'll do it over here. Oh, excuse me. So I hope that was of help to the person who asked me. God, I can't remember your name, I'm so sorry. But to anybody else, don't be frightened and don't go out spending a fortune. Learn how to do this first. And there's so many, I've showed it, there's so many other systems that are equally as good. There's another one, $20. It's got a coarse and a fine on it. Do you know what I mean? That'll do the same as these or these. And this is about $20 and you get them both, or maybe a bit more. But do you know what I mean? There's lots of systems out there. Do not go and spend a fortune. See if you're going to like it first. But with this, you don't need to change it, even if you do. I do it and I get different stones, and I like doing wet stones, because I enjoy that. I enjoy the fact of doing lots of different sharpenings. So that's just me. I am not great, but I can get an edge to give me a day's work. And surely that is the important part. There you go. All done. Paddy's away for it. I'm away to finish my cup of tea. It didn't even get that cold, and I've just blunted and sharpened a knife for you. Take care. I'm going. Bye now.